Some of the words that I hate when people tell me, or someone else with a chronic illness, is at least it's not going to kill you. At least it's not cancer. Yes, thankfully, I don't have cancer. I don't have something that's terminal. They look at it like, yes, you need to see something good, but at that time, it's like, we don't want to. It's hard for people to accept that they have something wrong with them that's not going to go away, hence the term chronic. And some people are like, well, why is it hard if you're not going to die? Because physically, you're not going to die from POTS. You're probably not going to die with your other chronic conditions and illnesses, but it is a death in this sort of aspect of it's the death of what you wanted to do and very aspects of your life that you thought you would be able to do. It is the death of, in a sense. And I guess what I'm trying to say is there are things you were aiming for in your life, and for those of your loved ones that you're not going to be able to get to now, possibly. And for those of you who don't understand chronic illness and are lucky enough not to have it, please be respectful and try to understand those who do suffer from it or have a loved one who they're caring for who is suffering through it, because it's not an easy job to take care of someone or even just to be a support for someone who's sick all the time. And yeah, they may have good days, but the bad days are still hard on the person who's sick and on the people who are caring for them and love them. It is still hard to see that. And it's hard. I don't honestly know what's worse, is being slowly going downhill with something like POTS, or having an episode one day and just being bad thereof, because it's not the death physically, it's the death of dreams, it's the death of going places you wanted to go to that you might not be able to go to anymore. And for those who are stubborn like myself, maybe you'll fight it and you will make yourself possibly worse in the process because you're gonna try so hard. Or maybe you'll go into dormancy, which is great. I went to dormancy for a little bit, for a few years after I was initially diagnosed. And then it came back with a vengeance. And it gave me those false hopes after going to college of being able to do things that I can't do. And working full time, I've tried it and I've put myself into a pickle several times because I would work full time, I'd work overtime, and it ended up sending me to the hospital with an erratic heart rate and a bunch of other problems that I'm sure most people with POTS are very familiar with, because then you can't stand up, you can't do anything by yourself because your body is not going to allow you to stay conscious and not puke all over yourself. And it's hard to accept that, to one day know that you have these awful limitations, and my husband helps me through them and lets me know that, like, I know I'm not worthless, but we all have those days, or even people who aren't chronically ill have those days where maybe they think that they're worthless, they're not trying hard enough because they're barely getting by, or some other problem that they're having. And you're not worthless. No one is worthless. It's just when you're chronically ill and you see a specific plan laid out for you. You have a plan laid out for you for life, and now all of a sudden that can't happen, so you don't know where to go, what to do, how to make these adjustments, how can you do something else, what else can you do? These are the questions that go through their head because you're no longer sure. Your plan that you had is no longer going to work out. That's hard for people to adjust to, and sometimes maybe they can't. They can't just go off and do the things that they wanted to do anymore. It's very difficult to deal with POTS physically, and it's also difficult to deal with it mentally for people. I view it as, like, it kind of destroyed my life. And a combination of that and EDS, I'm sick, I'm in pain, a lot of pain daily, and I view it as, when I was diagnosed, it's good to have an answer, but at the time, of course, they couldn't do much for it, and I went to remission, or dormancy, that was great, and then it came clashing back down towards the end of college, and I still got through college, but then I couldn't, despite trying. Working full-time didn't pan out, because I was so sick all the time, and I would come in to work sick, and people could tell that you're struggling. Now, not all workplaces understand, and and that sucks too, but I viewed it as it just taking my life away from me, and my husband and some of my family have been so very understanding and seeing me struggle, but no one the front, I mean, yes, I'll be happy and I'll have fun still, but the front I put up in people, I don't like to see them. I don't want my friends and family to see how much pain I'm actually in, or how much I'm struggling. And I'm sure that's the case with a lot of people with POTS, or some that can't help it. My husband has seen it. Obviously, like, for the last 10 years. He sees me when I can't, like, function anymore, when I have a breakdown because I'm in so much pain, or I'm having so many issues and I just want to cook dinner and I can't even do that. When I struggle just to get up the stairs to the bathroom, or he has to carry me to the couch because I can't get off the floor by myself. Please, what I'm saying is for people who have chronic illnesses, they know it's difficult on others. They're not trying to make it difficult on you or anyone else, but they still need your support. It's just, please be fair and understanding, because this condition, anyone with chronic illness, that's not fair. They didn't bring it on themselves. They're not being lazy. And for people just to tell them that you don't understand, and most of the time you're not going to really be able to empathize to that point, because you're not going to understand unless you go through something similar yourself, more than likely. I have a friend who only a few years ago was diagnosed, and she never really understood what it meant to have POTS until she started going downhill and actually getting diagnosed with it. Before she was pretty healthy. She never knew what it was like for me, and it's sad to know that she can empathize with me, because now she has it, and now that I've had it for most of my life, I feel so bad for her. And especially since she doesn't have an understanding family. Not at all. And she still has a support system, which is good. Having friends is also important during this. Family is also great, but finding someone who understands, who has similar issues, having someone to talk to about it, I think has been some of the most help for me, is just to be like, doing something like, oh yeah, I know that feeling, being able to help them through it, because like I know exactly when she's feeling bad, I go grab my electrolyte drinks, so like I know that will at least help ease it a little bit, and pounding water will help ease it a little bit, because we both understand when we start going downhill what we need when she's been over. It's just, I don't think it's something that's talked about very often when people think about it. It's just like, yeah, at least you're not dead. It's like, haha, yeah, but you feel like you're dying every day, so no, we don't want to die. but we want people to at least treat us well, because we don't feel good, and it was the death of our own dreams and the lives we were living, and that point needs to be made, because most people aren't going to understand. They just think people like us are lazy. They don't see the amount of pain, daily struggle we go through, how many spoons we have to use. And I'll explain spoon theory in another episode for people who don't know what it is, but it's a great theory for people with chronic illness to use to explain what we're going through. Just, people don't understand, and I really want to get that point across, is please be kind, please be respectful, be there for them. They don't want to hear about, that you should get a full-time job, you should do this, you should do that. It's like, yeah, a little bit. If we ask for the help, great, yeah. But ultimately, either we're trying already, or we're working on ourselves to try to get a little bit better, because we're not in a place where we can do that at the moment, and maybe might not be, because limitations are very hard to accept. And mine took me a very long time to accept my limitations and to accept that I'm not going to be working in the field that I want to work in, because I physically cannot handle it, and what I went to school for now is applicable but in very limited quantities now, because what I wanted to do with it and what I could do with it is now not gonna happen. So I'm finding alternatives to things I can do from home, because honestly, it's work from home or pretty much maybe not have a job. Because going places, at least from home, if I'm a bad day, if I'm having a really, really bad day, I can probably still work on my computer to an extent at least. Even if my dog's alerting, like, at least I'm laying on the couch, I can still be on a laptop or a computer, and that's... But she's alerting, obviously driving isn't going to happen, walking isn't going to happen, standing is definitely not going to happen. These are things to consider, and I do want to start reaching out into hearing other people's stories of their struggle with POTS and chronic illness, and see how it's affected them and their lives and their family and friends, their jobs, just everything, because we need more of that. We need more people to understand.